All right, this is section 2.3. Here's all the notes. This is going to take us at least 2 days to do. This is not a one-day assignment. So we're going to start with example 1.
We did that.
I know we did it. We're going to do it again so I can get it on video. It says, real quick, the average of two real numbers is 41.125. We talked about average is adding two numbers up and dividing by 2, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So if the average is 41.125, and it says, and their product, so x times y is equal to 1683, what you're going to do is solve one equation for x or y. I would suggest is if you can get y by itself, and in this case your best choice would be to take this equation. I would cross multiply these two, so x plus y equals 82.25, and then subtract 2. I'm sorry, subtract x. And then you're going to plug this into this equation right here. So your new equation is x times, and then here you're going to substitute and now here's your new equation. You're going to take your calculator and you're going to type y1, you're going to type x, and then parenthesis 82.25 minus x, parenthesis, and you want to get this on the other side so it looks like this when you type it in your calculator. And then minus 1683, and you're going to hit graph. And when you graph it, you may not see the answer. So you want to change your window. And I would go something like negative 50, 50. And this SCL, SCL, that's the scale factor that your x-axis is going by. I would not do 1 because it's not going to, it's going to be a big blob. So I would go by 5s, or you can go by 10s. Now when you graph it, you will see the answer. And mine did not show. So window.
Did you add the 1683 when you typed into the line equals?
Did I mess this up? Oh no, I didn't. That's why. Thank you. Good call. Minus 1683. That's fine. There it is. There's your answer. These two right here are going to be the answers. So how do you get this one? You hit second, calc, 0. And that one is between, let's say, 35, enter, 40, enter. We're not going to guess. We're going to skip the guess. And the first answer is 38.25. That's one answer. That's one of your two numbers. 38.25. And then your second answer, you're going to get this one, you're going to hit second, calc, 0. And I'm going to guess that's between 40, enter, and 50. And it's 44. Those are your two answers. Okay, example number 2. You've got a rectangle, and it's twice as wide as it is high. So if we call this x, this one would be 2x. And it's talking about the area, the space inside there. So what is the definition of area? Length times width. So we're going to do 2x times x is 24.5. Now this, you really don't need the graphing capability like you did here. So we're just going to do this like we did in section 2.2. We're going to divide by 2. This is take the square root of both sides. And you're going to get, when you take the square root of both sides, you're going to get plus or minus 3.5. You ignore the negative answer. Just keep the positive one. And the dimensions of this rectangle are 3.5 by, what's 3 times 3.5? Or 2 times 3.5 is 7. So your rectangle is 3.5 inches by 7 inches. Got that? Okay, now we're on example 3. We have a rectangular box. The box, I'm going to draw it the best I can here. Here's your, if it has a rectangular base, or a square base, that means that both of these sides, the length and the width, are the same. But rectangular means it's not square, so I'm going to make these sides longer. So think of like maybe like a shoebox. A shoebox would be like that. So this has no top. So pretend like there's no top there. It says no top. So they're talking about the volume of this box. And if the two dimensions here are both the same, x and x, and we don't know what, we're going to use a different letter, y. It's different. So how do you express the volume of something? What is the definition of volume? Length times width times height. So what would be x times y? It would be x squared y. In our volume, it says is 30,000. Then it says, if the surface area, so surface area is all of the sides. Now remember, it does not have a top. So the bottom of the box right here, what is the area of just this bottom? What's the area of just this square right here? The x times x. X squared. And then there are how many of these sides that are x times y? See this side right here, x, y? There's 4 of them. So 4 areas that are x times y. So think of the sides and this part and the bottom. We don't have a top. If we did have a top, this would have been a 2 right here. So the surface area is 6,000. So here are the 2 equations that I came up with. I'm going to solve one of these equations for x or y. The easiest one to get by itself would be this y right here. I'm going to rewrite this as y is equal to 30,000 over x squared. And then I'm going to plug this into this equation right here. So I'm substituting one expression or one equation into the other. To get a new equation would be x squared plus 4x and then times 30,000 over x squared equals 6,000. Everybody see what I did? I replaced this, made this y equals, and then substituted that in here. So now I'm going to take out my calculator, and under y1, I'm going to plug all this in, but make sure when you bring 6,000 over, you make it negative 6,000. I want you to do that for me right now. You're going to type in x squared plus 4x, parenthesis, 30,000 divided by x squared, and then minus 6,000. Okay. Now, we need to change this. I want you to all change this window. Change it to, go to 100 for the x. There's 2 answers. There's your 2 answers right there. The reason there's 2 answers is there's two cases of the dimensions of this box. Okay, so let's look at We don't want any negative. If you ever see any negative answers, you disregard them, because you can't have a negative width of a box, right? They're all positive numbers. So let's concentrate on this answer right here. Let's find this solution. How do you find it? Second, calc, 0. Now mine went by fives. So 5, 10, 15, 20. Let's say between 20 and 30. I'm going to do 20, enter, 30, enter, enter. My first solution is 21.7. So, case number 1. We have 2 cases. Case number 1. Case number 1, I got X is 21.7. So that would mean this box would be 21.7 by 21.7 by, what's the Y value? How do we find the Y value? We're going to plug 21.7 here to find the Y value. So what is 30,000 divided by 21.7 squared? We get 64.3. Did anyone else get that? So that's case 1. Now case 2, that was our second answer, which is right here. So let's analyze this x-intercept right here. So we hit second, calc, go to 0. And that one looks like if my window went by fives, and I'm going to say that's between 60 and 70. And I get 64 point. You know what? I messed up, you guys. This one, my first case, the 21.7, this should be 63.7. It's close. I just caught my error. 63. When you plug this in here, you should get 63.7. So the second case is 64. That's your X value right there. That's 64. So X is 64.3. And if you plug this now in here, you should get 7.3. So 64 squared goes in here, and 30,000 times that is 7.3. So you could create 2 different kinds of boxes depending on which answer you picked. Okay? All right, next one. A landscaper wants to put a cement walk of uniform width around a rectangular garden. Okay, so the garden is measuring 24 by 40 feet. So let's draw a little picture here. So the garden is 24 by 40. And it has beautiful flowers in it. That's our garden. So the landscaper wants to put an even amount of cement. Sorry, my picture's not perfect, but he wants to cement this so that you can walk around it, water your flowers without smashing your flowers. Now, when we say uniform width, we're going to, right now, your garden is 24, but if we want to look at this dimension right here, what would be 24, and if this is we'll call this X. From here to here is X, and from here to here is X. What would be this dimension from here to here? If this is 24, and these are both X, what would this width be, this new width?
24 plus 2.
Very good, 24 plus 2X. Very good, 24 plus 2X. Okay, we don't know what X is. Now let's look at this dimension right here. If this is 40, and this is X, and this is X, what would this dimension from here to here be? This is 40, this is x, and this is x. Yep, this would be 40 plus 2x. So, what would be the area of this whole thing? This whole thing. Area is length times width. If we pretended that we were going to cement the whole thing, we would be putting cement around 40 plus 2x times 24 plus 2x. Does everybody agree with that? We would be cementing the whole thing. But are we going to cement our garden? No. We're going to take the area of the garden out. So we have a 24 by 40 garden. We're going to remove that area. So think of it as we find the area of the whole thing. We remove the area of the garden. Okay, pop that out. And how much cement do we have to work with? We're going to set this equal to 660. Whoops. 660. 660. So now we're going to take our calculator, and without doing any algebra, we're going to let the calculator work for us. We're going to clear our calculator. And you may want to change your window. If you want to change it back to a standard window, that would be great. Clear your screen. If you don't see the answer, then you want to expand it. So let's start here. Let's go to y equals. So we're going to type in parenthesis, exactly what we wrote. 40 plus 2x, parenthesis, and then parenthesis, 24 plus 2x, parenthesis. Then we're going to subtract the area of the garden, 24 times 40. And then we're going to subtract 660, because remember you want a 0 on one side, and now graph that. And there's your answer. So how wide should that cement be all the way around? Tell me what you got. So second, calc, 0. And I'm going to do between 4, enter, and 6. Second, calc. 1, 2, 3, 4, enter, 6. I got 4.5. 4.518. Everybody get that? What'd you get? Did anyone get a different answer? Check your equation out again. 518. 518. There it is, right? Lexi, did you get it? Minus 660. Did you get it now? The right answer? How many of you guys got this answer? Check these numbers out again. Let me see your calculator. You have 24 plus 2x minus, oh, I know why. You did 20 times 40 in parentheses. You typed it wrong. It's 24 times 40. That's why. There's your error. You'll get it. Okay, let's move on to the next example.
There was only one solution to that?
Huh?
There was only one.
Just one. Okay, if I took a sheet of paper, and this sheet of paper measured 22 by 30, and I cut these corners out that are called X. We don't know how high. And I folded these edges, for example. I'm gonna show you right here. I did this little piece of paper here. Everybody see this? So here's your piece of paper. And pretend like it measures 22 by 30 originally. And I cut out X. X, these are all X's. Okay? So from here to here is, let's say, 22. And from here to here is 30. Okay? And then I cut, these are X. And then I folded these sides up. So I now have this box. It has no top. Okay? So, everybody see that? So originally, we had 22 here, let's say. And if I removed this and this, what's this new dimension right here? From here to here. If from here to here, straight across was 22, and I removed here and here, what's this new dimension right here? Minus 2x. So our new dimension, we have to do length times width times height. Because that's volume. Make this bigger. So, did everybody get the picture of what I'm doing here? So if this is 22, and I cut out this, I notched this out right here. What is this dimension from here to here? It's gonna be 22 minus 2x. Everyone catch that? So that would be this dimension right there. Okay, if from here to here was 30, and I notched out these pieces right here, what is this dimension gonna be? It's gonna be 30 minus 2x. Remember, they're all uniform. Now, what would be the height? What would be this height right here? It would be x. And we're saying that our volume is 1,000. Everyone get that? Now I want you to type that in your calculator. We have parenthesis 22. Oops. Parenthesis 22 minus 2x parenthesis 30 minus 2x parenthesis times x, and then minus 1,000. And you may need to change your window. There's one answer. Oh, I'm good. My window's good. So we have two different answers, okay? We have two cases on this one. So let's find the first case right here. Remember, we're trying to find length, width, and height. So let's get this first answer right here. So we hit second, calc, 0. And it looks like mine are going by ones. So it's between 2, enter, and 3, enter. And my first answer, I got 2.23. 2.23. So, we have, for case 1, our x value is 2.23. So now, how do we find this dimension right here? Our length is going to be, we're going to do 22 minus 2 times 2.3. And you should get 17.54. And your height width The height we said is X. Your height, I should write that for you. Height is X. And your width is gonna be 30 minus 2X, 2.23. And for that I got 25.54. So case one, the dimensions would be 2.23 by 17.54 by 25.54. So the second case, case two, so we take our calculator, where did it hit? There. This answer is 6.47. So you do second calc 0, and that's between 5, enter, 7, enter, 6.47. And again, you plug that number here and here, and you should get, I'm just gonna write them down for you. You get, your width and your height. You get 9.06 and 17.06 for my answers. Okay. All right, skip 6. We're gonna do 6 on day 2. I'm gonna do 7 right now with you guys. A coffee shop mixes 2 kinds of coffee. One is Brazilian coffee and the other is Turkish coffee. Now this is a system of equation problem. This is very similar to what you did in 9th grade. We've got we have a mix, this is a mixture problem. We're mixing 2 items. You want to look for what the 2 items are. And I like to use the letter of whatever we're dealing with. B for Brazilian coffee and T represents Turkish coffee. You want to look for how many units combined of the 2 items you have. So in this case, we've got 300 kilograms. So one of your equations is B plus T is equal to 300. The next equation is how much each item is worth and how much you're spending on all this coffee, this mixture. So the Brazilian coffee is $5 a kilogram. So 5B, and the Turkish is $8. We want to mix these 2 coffees up and get a new mixture. We want to charge $7, somewhere in between here. So we want $7. If we were to purchase 300 kilograms and it's going to cost $7, what's the total cost here? 300 kilograms times $7 a kilogram, how much total? 2,100, very good. And that's how you do those. Now, you don't need a calculator for this. So how would you do this one? What is the method? I would multiply the top equation by maybe -5. -5 right here. It's called elimination. So this new equation is going to be -5b minus 5t equals -1500. And then 5b plus 8t equals 2100. These cancel, you get 3t equals 600. T is 200. How do we find the other coffee? Plug it in here, and B is 100. You're plugging it back in, substituting it, and solving for the other. So let's label our answers. What does T represent? It's our Turkish coffee, and it's in kilograms. So we should write kilograms of the Turkish coffee and kilograms of the Brazilian. Now, if you want to see a pattern in some of these, this would be a good model to use. Look at example 8. It's a lot like this. Instead of Brazilian coffee and Turkish coffee, we have two types of fluid. Okay, so let's read this one. We've got a car radiator that has 12 quarts of fluid. So just like, see how this one has 300 kilograms? You've got 12, the number of units is 12 quarts. 300 and the 12 are the same, those are the same things that you're comparing. So we've got two quantities. One is a 20% solution and the other one is a one is 20. It's 100% with pure antifreeze. The word pure antifreeze is 100%. We want our new, when you see pure antifreeze, that's 100%. I'm looking for the number and I didn't see it. Pure means 100%. We want our new mixture to be 50%. Just like we want our new mixture to cost $7. These are what the value of each of the solutions are, 5 and 8. But instead of a number, we have a percentage. We have to convert these to decimals. So our first equation is going to be x plus y equals 12. That's one equation. One of our solutions is 20%, so we're going to write 0.20x. And our second one is 100%, so 1.0y. That's 100%. We want our new mixture to be 50%. So see how here you did 7 times 300? You're going to do 50% times the 12. So now how would you solve this? Some of you guys will use substitution. Some of you, I like to get rid of decimals. Me personally, I would get rid of all these decimals here. I'd move this over 1, and this over 1. I would make this 2x plus 10y equals, and then I would do 5 times 12, which is 60. And then this is x plus y equals 12. Then I would multiply this by negative 2. So this is negative 2x minus 2y equals negative 24. I get 8y is equal to, what's 60 minus 24? 36. And then divide by 8. Okay, so you've got 4.5 quarts of the of the pure, and then the other one is going to be 7.5%. One is 7.5 and one is 20. I'm sorry, one is 4.5 and one is 7.5 quarts. Next, number 9. You've got two accounts. And think of this as the same as the last one. You're going to try to write two equations. One is how much money you're putting in, and the other one is going to attach a percent to each account and how much you're gonna earn. So let's read this one. A high-risk stock pays 12% and a savings account. So these are your two accounts. One's a high-risk stock and one's a savings account. So those are your two items. If you wanna call them X and Y, you can do that. So how much should we put in each of these accounts? We're gonna invest $9,000. So one of our equations is gonna be X plus Y equals 9,000. So the high-risk account earns 12%, so it's worth 0.12. Whereas our savings account earns 6%, so 0.06Y. Be careful when you convert a percent to a decimal, you move it 2 places to the left. So we want to earn 8%. It's somewhere in between these two amounts. So we want to earn 8% on this money. So you're going to do 9,000 here times 0.08. Okay, so let's work on this. If you like to get rid of decimals like I do, I would rewrite this as 12x plus 6y equals, and I would make this 8. Move this over. 8 times 9 is 72 with 3 zeros. Everybody see that? I move this 2 over, and then 8 times 9,000 is 72,000. So I've got, up here I've got x, and if you want to just go ahead and multiply this by 6 or negative 6, that's up to you. Does everyone understand what I'm doing? So here's your two equations. How would you solve this? I'd probably multiply this top one by negative 6. So you have negative 6x minus 6y equals negative 54 with 3 zeros. Copy this one, the bottom one. And go ahead and solve for, you're going to solve for x. Okay, what do you get here? 72, what's 72,000 minus 54? 18,000. And what's x? 3,000, right? So x is 3,000. So we're gonna say $3,000 in the 12% account, and then you're gonna subtract that from 9,000, and you're gonna get 6,000 in the 6% account. I'm gonna stop here, because this is, the rest of it's gonna be day 2 notes. Whatever else we don't finish is day 2 notes. What I need you to do is go through in questions 1 through 8 in the back. 1 through 8, they just want, these came from your book. They just want, just set them up. You don't have to solve. Don't solve. But the rest they want you to solve. Now you won't, I want you to pick out the ones you can do. Like obviously the antifreeze problem, do. The interest one, do that one. But the ones like number 13, it says 2 cars leave a gas station. We didn't do the distance ones. That's gonna be day 2. So do as many as you can, and then on Monday we will finish it up, okay?